I believe having children is the dumbest thing that you can possibly do in modern society. I said it. I said it. I really did say it. And honestly, because our ancestors, right, they used to have children primarily for sacrifice reasons, right? They had children because children were cheap labor. You could reap the reward of having children because you could put them to work. Nowadays, what do you get if you have children? You don't see any ROI. There's no return on investment. In actuality, they're leeches. They kill wealth, just like vehicles kill wealth, just like sometimes owning a home kills wealth. There's people who have a house. My apologies. There's people who have a house and their house poor. See, in society, we try to take this, this wonderful, beautiful world that we created, right? We've came from prehistoric times. We don't live in the jungles anymore. We've become smarter than we've ever been. Nutrition, food is abundant. AC, we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate in modern times. And even in modern times, there's people still living as if we're not in modern times in other countries. What they would consider, what we would consider third world countries. But I say all this to say it is truly astonishing how these billionaires and multimillionaires, they can't fathom that people in modern society just don't want to have children. And even if people could afford children, right? It's not as simple as it used to be. Now, men and women, we don't really need each other the way we used to in the past. Women couldn't work. Therefore, women had to seek a man for provisioning and to take care of her. And either for the better or the worse, I would assume that was for the worst, 1,000%, because if the shoe was on the other foot and I was a woman, I would hate that. I would hate that. And there were men that were having their family with their wife and then probably had another family on the side. But nowadays it's not as simple. Yes, even if you have the money to afford your children and a house, right? And all the bills that come with that, feeding your kids, education, so on and so forth, you have to find a woman not only that is also dedicated to that path and goal as far as like, tried wife lifestyle, right? But essentially these times don't call for that. Like I said, children aren't a ROI. There's no return on investment. I say they're wealth killers. They're nothing but a liability. Now you can have children for the pure sake and joy of wanting to spread your seed and so on and so forth. But I believe that in this modern day and age, it's more harm than good. And I've tend to swing more on the left side as far as having children has always led to a bit more harm than good. Honestly, how many children are born in poverty? How many children are born with two parents that actually care about them, that just didn't lay down for one night, bone, and hey, you're here? Or, it's very complicated and very complex. I see a lot of dudes online talking about, I just want kids. Why do you want kids? You aren't going to take care of them. 9 times out of 10, the children are going to be with the mother. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to want to willingly assist in helping her financially to take care of your children. No, you will wait until she puts you on child support, because the little support that you do provide isn't enough to sustain her and the child. Because if the mother is down, the child fails as well. But then also guys wonder, well, if you aren't financially capable of taking care of the child, then just lend me the child. But you would just find another woman upon that child upon, like your mom or your grandma. Let's just be honest here. Guys don't want to change diapers. Guys don't want to do any kind of disciplinary actions. Most men, they don't. There's this fantasy. There's this fantasy in, oh, man, oh, I'm this great guy. I'm this great man. And I want to have my seed and spread it far and wide and so on and so forth. And to teach these lessons of manhood to my son, or teach my daughter about the hardships of life and how she can maneuver it and find a good, honorable man. Truth be told, you don't know what you're doing. Truth be told, the good, the little good that you do plan on doing is actually not, it's weighing heavy on your children's life. They're going to experience more suffering than the little nuance of good that you're trying to provide by teaching them your meaningless ideologies, essentially, right? And since I was 17, I've never truly wanted children. I said that to my father and he thought I was selfish. Hey, everything's not about you. And you have to think of it. Well, why did you have children? I can think of a million good reasons why not to have children, but can you give me a million reasons of why to? And, how can you guarantee this child's success? And do you know how to predict the future in which the market or the current job market is going to be viable for them? And can you predict that AI isn't going to take every job imaginable on Earth? Can you, like, what was your reasoning again? I think you were just trying to get your rocks off, honestly. So, me personally, I don't see children as a viable means of life, right? I can enjoy my life to the fullest extent. Imagine, I'm talking, I've been to other countries. I've been to South Korea. I've been to Cambodia. I've been to Thailand. I've traveled a little bit here and there. I'm going to Colombia. When you are able to travel and experience other walks of life and see how they live, it opens your mind to another world. Most Americans can't even fathom leaving a country. Over half of Americans have a passport, maybe like 51, 53% last time I checked. But it's because a passport is required to go into Mexico and Canada now. And most Americans still haven't truly went abroad. You know, I think a lot of people are just monkey see, monkey do. Someone had children, their dad had children, or their mother had children, and they're pushing that ideology onto their children. They're not letting them become free thinkers. It's all propaganda. It's all propaganda. And the same how the birth rates are declining is the same reason marriage is declining. Like I said, people don't need each other anymore. Women don't need men anymore. Men don't need women. Honestly, most guys will say men have never needed women. But I'm going to tell you right now, I've always needed women in my life. I'm not gay. This channel isn't monetized, so I don't care. I'm not gay. So I've always needed women. I don't care what you guys are talking about. Some of the information in the red pill space is true. But I think you red pill guys are going a little bit far. And I'm not saying this because I'm a white knight or anything. I truly think that, hey, go outside and go talk to some hoes or something, man. Get off this internet. You've been on the net too long. Go get laid or something. But, in actuality, I think it's just too much worry too. It's already hard enough figuring out how are you going to retire yourself. There's life is your number one asset. Like your time is so invaluable. You can't put a price on your time, but if you had to put a price on your time, you want the most for it. If you can get paid $1 million an hour, why not take that over 1,000? Why? Because your time is that valuable. Everybody's time is that valuable. Nobody's time is worth more than anyone else's, essentially. Now, to an extent, I do believe that some people's time are worth a bit more than others because the level of intellect that people are born into the world with vary far and wide. And not everybody in society is an intellect. They're not intelligent and they don't speak with a level of sense whatsoever. They're kind of just on autopilot, roaming around, hunching like wild animals in this thing we call modern society, which I consider it to be a circus. It's an act. Yes, people are playing games and they're losing. And they're losing, man. But yeah, I truly believe that just man, if you don't have a solid reason to have children, like a truly solid reason, like a solid game plan. And this is what I would say, right? The people who don't want children oftentimes end up being the best parents if they were to have children, myself included, right? Let me say this. My plan, right? If I did have children in a hypothetical scenario, I've even thought about getting a vasectomy, which I do want to get sometime soon because I just can't fathom, dude. I want to live for myself. I don't care how selfish it is. You don't get anywhere in life unless you're selfish first. Facts. But I want to live for myself. I want to travel. I want to be retired. I want to retire as soon as possible. I want to retire other family members that sacrifice their life for children. And now they can't live their life the way they want to live their life because they're operating on modern debt propaganda and they're falling into the rat race And now their whole life is built upon debt, student loan debt, um, mortgage, right? You take out a loan for your house, take out a loan for a car. You're nothing but a slave, buddy. And I'm no Andrew Tate. I'm not saying the Matrix, but truly, you fell into the debt minefield. You've just put your little toes on each and every debt trap and you fell right into it. Thank you. You're enslaved to your country. They, especially America, they don't want you to figure out what's abroad. They don't want you to figure out about Europe or what's going on in Southeast Asia. They don't want you to figure out what's going on in Africa. And these countries, they do have their own problems. Yes, going over to those countries with American dollars does make you privileged because your currency is stronger than theirs. But I digress. Even those people, even the poorest people in those countries, they, like in Thailand, they have a level of humanity and community that is unheard of in America. Even in the Philippines, where it's even worse, they have a level of humanity and community that is unheard of here. And we're supposed to be the more, the first world country, right? Okay. But I honestly think that's enough rambling. I've rambled enough. Think about your children, man. Think about the life that you, quote unquote, figuratively speaking, are going to provide for them. And, also how extremely complex this is going to be. Over half of marriages end in divorce. How are you going to fund your child's college? How are you going to fund your child's first car? How are how are you going to teach them to be entrepreneurial, or do you have any investment strategies for them? And as far as myself, I got off track. If I was to have a child, my number one plan, right? I have a child, newborn. I am putting money into stocks for them so they have their own brokerage account, right? And I'm putting at the very minimum $100 away. At the max, I would love to put $500 to $1,000 away if I had the means to do so for them, and also myself included. But at the very minimum, most people aren't even putting $100 away into a brokerage like an ETF, right? Like the S&P 500 that is going to yield them 10% every month for their child. For their child. I would at least do that. Build some wealth by the time they're 21. You've been putting $100 in every month for 21 years for your child. You can't do that. I'm the person who don't want children, and I'm thinking ahead of you, your children's future. Like, you people are sick. I'm thinking like that. Yeah, I'm thinking like that. That's real generational wealth. Building it from not only for yourself to pass on to your children, but giving your children a head start just in case you don't go all the way. Just in case you don't reach your goal, you gave your child the means to do so. By the time they hit their 20s, they have a couple tens of thousands of dollars stacked up, if not at least 100 grand stacked up, depending on how much you put into their brokerage account and building up their portfolio. Yeah, it's like that. So don't come in my comment section talking to me crazy. I ain't allowing it. Everybody else in the comments, if you see somebody talk crazy, smack them. Stop playing with me, man.